It all started in Santa Margherita Belice, in the mountains of Sicily. I've been there. The most important house in town was the Palazzo Chpt, where the Leopard's author, Giuseppe di Lampedusa, born in 1896 of noble blood, actually spent his boyhood summers. Set in the middle of town, right on the leafy square, he wrote in his memoirs, it spread over a vast expanse and contained about 100 rooms, large and small. It gave the impression of an enclosed and self-sufficient entity, of a kind of Vatican, as it were, that included staterooms, living rooms, quarters for 30 guests, servants' rooms, 3 enormous courtyards, a large and very lovely garden, and a great orchard. 6 years after his memoirs were published, the earthquake left only the palace's facade standing. It sliced the church in half lengthwise, splitting it open so that every afternoon the sun's last rays nestled into the concave curve of its lapis blue domed ceiling. Still intact was the bamboo screen in front of the balcony seats, so that a princess might attend mass without being stared at. The palace was the pride of the town. Nomadic Berbers and other Arabs from what is now Tunisia settled this town in 826 and named it Manzil Sindi, a name it kept for centuries, Italianized as Misil Sindo. Manzil Sindi was a stronghold that, at 1,500 feet above sea level, was the highest hill in the region. In the late 14th century, the settlement became the feudal estate of Baron Antonio Corbera, Spanish nobleman. Wine still bears his name. In the 1600s, the Corberas built the palaces that endured until the 1968 earthquake, and renamed the town to honor the patron saint of Margherita Resquesens, the baron's mother. She was beautiful, the old ladies say of this town, always with a circular wave of the hand to indicate delight. In the town's library, then housed in a Quonset hut, I found back issues of magazines describing glittering evenings of dance in the Leopard's Garden, now the town park, where the moon reflected in the tiered pools of a fountain that the prince once kept stocked with Belice River eels for his table. Prince Alessandro II Filangieri, di Lampedusa's ancestor, planted the park's oldest trees in the middle of the 18th century. Queen Maria Carolina of the Bourbon court walked among the palms, bamboo, and orange trees when, a fugitive, she spent 3 months here in 1812 as the guest of another of Lampedusa's forebears. Italian director Visconti released his film The Leopard in 1963. The ballroom scene was filmed in the Palazzo Filangieri. Burt Lancaster played Prince Corbera, and Claudia Cardinale played Angelica, his nephew's fiancée. Some of my relatives had bit parts, but flubbed them.
Partirò le rondini dal mio paese freddo e senza sole, cercando primavere di viole, nidi d'amore e di felicità. La mia piccola rondine partì senza lasciarmi un
Papa, Giuseppe Maggio, was 12 years older than Nana, if I remember correctly, and he was the son of farmers. When I went through the town records, the birth records always list the occupation of the father, and it was always listed as a farmer, or a farm worker, or an agricultural business. When she was 12 years old, Alfonso Adamo said goodbye to her mother and younger sisters and left the island to live with relatives in Brooklyn. There, Giuseppe Maggio, her future husband, had rooms in the same building. In Santa Margherita, she had attended a convent school where the nuns taught her sewing and how to speak and write proper Italian. Her mother ran a store where she sold bridal trousseau, the cutwork sheets and fancy linens that a Margheritese bride brings to her marriage, sheets and blankets for 6 winter beds and 6 sets for summer. Nana's father was an overseer, a sovrastante for a baron. His job was to weigh the grain and cheese with which peasants paid their taxes.
The Reinas, they were very close friends with the Reinas.
I met a Mr. Reina in Santa Margherita Belice.
Yes.
He was an older man. It was 1990s, early 1990s, and I took his picture. He had a beret on, but he was walking. He was stout, and he was walking.
The Reinas were related to the Maggios on that side of the family.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I know they might not be in this old batch.
Yeah, but I think there was a distant relation. Mm-hmm. Hey, you live in a town for 300 years, there's bound to be some kind of a relationship, you know.
That had to be taken after Aunt Frida was born and before your grandmother became pregnant with Stevie, Uncle Steve. My mother came in 1916, just days before Aunt Frida was born.
So this is my Nana, Alfonso Adamo Maggio.
Right, going left to right. And there's Uncle Joe Adamo, the oldest brother, the oldest member of the siblings. And there's Margherita Adamo Lamagno.
Okay. What faces, what elegant dresses.
And you know, neither one of the sisters had much hair. They used to have paparuca that they used to put underneath it so that it would bouffant and...
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. And they used to put these gorgeous big berets in the back of their hair. And they couldn't do it with their own hair because they didn't have enough. Remember, your grandmother had very thin hair, so did my mother.
Well, I thought it was just because she was old.
No. They never had much hair. Neither one of them. And they used to wear those wig-type things, hair pieces, to put them in the back. And my mother had a big beret. I don't know what your grandmother had, but my mother had a big beret that was these tiny little stones in it. Oh, it was beautiful. They were like little rhinestones, you know. It was beautiful.
Now, do you think these dresses were homemade?
I would suspect so.
Who do you think made them?
I think they each made their own.
With the tassels? They probably coordinated it because they both got tassels.
Yeah.
And what was the occasion for this picture, do you think?
I don't know. Maybe when my mother finally got here and your grandmother got her shape back, you know, after having Frida, because my mother came the last week in April and Frida was born May 11th. And I think after she got her shape back, they decided, they were all living in Brooklyn at the time. That was before your grandmother went to Carlstadt. And I guess they decided to have the pictures. That's a typical photography picture where the man was seated and the women stood up.
And lean on him.
And lean on him. Exactly.
And now how old do you think Nona was in this picture, Alfonso?
Well, that had to be taken before around 1911, 1912. Around 1912, I would say.
So, and she was born when?
93.
1893. So 7 and 12 is 19. So she was 19 years
Well,
old.
19.
She already had her first child and got her shape back.
Right.
This is my father.
Let's see. Oh.
That's my papa.
Let me show it to the camera.
That's my father.
And what was his name?
Antonino.
Antonino.
And what was his first name?
That was Antonino.
Oh, Antonino, right.
Yeah.
Of course.
Lamano. Now this is my mother.
Wow.
She was born 2.5 years after your grandmother.
Beautiful complexion, huh?
Oh, yeah. Yep. And she said, and I verified this quite a few years ago, but my mother said when she got married on July 23rd, it had been the hottest July since they were keeping records, the hottest day. And she had this Italian silk wedding gown that was sent from Italy. And she said it weighed a ton, and you can see it had a trade and all that. And she said she had such a headache. Frida's gown was yellow with the white ribbon. And Natalie was a flower girl. And Josie made all the gowns.
This is whose wedding?
Your Uncle Steve in Florence. 1937 they got married. And to follow the theme, and they were married on Easter Sunday, which was like the 1st or 2nd of April. It was early that year. They had to fly the daisies and the goldenrod from Florida because they weren't available in the flower shops up here.
The palace was beautiful, but it was for the nobles. The people of the town lived a different life. Nobody told me what my grandparents escaped when they left Sicily near the turn of the 20th century. The poverty and corruption, wheat failures and famine, drought, the latrines and the stone stables, the rule of the mafia, the roaming bands of dogs who would take over the village after dark. The Sicily Nana and Papa left was a place where ordinary people could work hard and never get ahead. Bribes, threats, protection money, and high taxes sapped their savings and their souls. So they came to America and did not discuss Sicily with the children. The day Nana told me there was nothing there, I decided that I would see Sicily for myself.